All right, so I did a couple steps. I made a little island, made a little boat, put a little text in it. All right, so I'm not showing you everything, just showing that it's possible to do. All right, so first of all, kind of you have to think about what you're doing. You have to think about the steps that are involved. Think about like layers in Photoshop. But you have to decide, you want it to appear, you want it to get bigger, you want something to move, you want something to get smaller, or you want something to appear. So what I did was I did do a couple things. I made the graphic appear first before it gets larger. And then the Gilligan's Island theme right now's title is just there. So if I go here and I select play from one, I'm sorry, you'll see the island getting bigger, the boat coming by, and Gilligan's Island is there. So that's like a first step. Those are first steps. But you'll notice that it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 animations to do it. And Gilligan's Island label is not part of the animation. So you do have to do that. But notice like I'm selected on graphic 4, number 1. So if I go to the animation ribbon, oops, sorry, you'll see that appear. I have appear. And then down here, I have how on click, and I have no delay. And then if you go to graphic 2, kind of the same thing. I have appear, even though it's not on the screen. And I have with previous, so they both appear at the same time, even though you don't see the boat appearing. And there's no delay. Graphic 4, this is where it grows. So if you go up here, you'll see where it's kind of the grow shrink animation is selected. I had it grow to 225%. I'm going to go ahead and put smooth and smooth. And I have it with previous, and then I have it grow in 3 seconds and no delay. Graphic 2, kind of the same thing. I have it grow into a certain size. Back up here, look where it's at. So you know it's selected. I have, it still is starting with the previous animation. It's going to grow over the course of 2 seconds. And then graphic 2 is actually a path animation, and that's where I drew the path, and it's going to go about center of the island. And I know it's a mountain, but I couldn't find an island. And same thing, I put smooth start, smooth end with previous, and then I had this do it a little bit slower so that it arrives after the island looks like it's as big as it's going to get. And again, no delays. So if I hit play from, island's getting bigger, the boat's coming in, even though I probably could tweak it a little bit better, make it come in a little bit, make the boat come bigger or quicker. And so one more time, you see the island getting bigger, you see the boat coming in. Now, say I want to add the Gilligan's Island animation somewhere in between. I have to select it, and I have to decide which animation I want. So I'm just going to do an easy one. So I'll just do checkerboard so we can see it. So right now, it will go to the bottom of the animation pane. So it's the last animation. So let's try to prove that. Play from. And there you go. Okay. So right now, the Gilligan's Island is on click. So I can do after previous. I can have it animate quickly, or I can slow it down. So I'm just going to slow it down just to show you. And I can have it delay after the previous by like half a second or something. You can also do, you can animate your text by word or by letter, and you can group it as an object, or if you actually had bullet points, you could do first, second, third, fourth, fifth level, whatever. All right, so now notice if I hit play from the Gilligan's Island thing, it'll only show the animation for the Gilligan's Island thing. And when it does that, it shows it from that location. It doesn't show you what happens if you move it around and you have it grow and shrink and have it slaughter all over the place. So that's what it'll look like. Okay, and this is what it looks like in the scheme of the whole animation. So you can tweak everything after you get everything in the right order. If you're kind of comfortable with what you do, what I recommend is that you always copy the slide. You always hit save when you know it's exactly what you want, hit save. And then if you think you might need this as a start over point and you don't want to start from the very beginning, just copy your slide and keep a spare just in case. So that way, if you make changes on this slide and then it goes horribly wrong, or you accidentally delete something and you can't figure it out because you got 1,000 animations, always have a slide that is to a certain point what you like up to a certain point. I know that sounds weird, but it's better to start from a point where you think you're happy than to have to start all over again. So if I go up here and I'm working on this slide and say I decide to remove graphic 2, I can go up here and I can actually remove it. I can hit the X and delete the animation. And then if I do that, then you'll notice that something's missing from the animation. Now, of course, you could just undo it. And if you know what if you notice it right away, you can just undo it. Yeah. But if you didn't know what you did, or you did too much because you weren't paying attention, or you accidentally do something, then you can just go to the backup slide and you have a better starting point. It's up to you. It's your comfort level. You can do whatever you want, but once you're happy, always hit save. You can move things by just dragging them. So I'm going to take Gilligan's Island and I'm going to drag it to the top. There you go. And then I'll play it. And if I don't want it to animate at all, I select it and I hit the red X and it stays there, but it's just not part of the animation. All right. So some of the key things to remember, though, is if you want something to work together with something else, always try with previous. Connect it to the previous animation. So this is tied to graphic 2, which is also tied to graphic 4, which kind of goes in line. Now I got this on click for this one, but you could do with previous, and what that will do is when you click it, it'll just do it. And you can do delays. So if you want an animation to start later, just do a delay. So even though these guys are with previous, you could actually put one on a 1-second delay and it'll go a little bit slower than some of the other ones that are part of previous. And then let me see if I can put this in slideshow and record it still. So let's do current slide. So if I go here and I'm going to hit next animation. And there you go. That's how you do it. Hope that helps. If not, let me know. Happy to try again.